not exactly are cavemen, they're really savage
ferocious people.
Ferocious people that are against the Romans. They are rearing to go, really. And she actually doesn't intend to, because she has a Roman lover and she's deeply in love. She has 2 children, so how will she keep, finally, these people quiet? She has these rituals to be taken care of.
As high priestess.
And the Casta Diva is the result of the rite that's supposed to take place. That's what they're there for. Does she foresee really, when she says, I foresee into the future of the Romans, and she really comes true later. She says, we won't destroy them. They will only be destroyed, but by their own selves. I was wondering whether this is really stalling for time, or whether she really is sincere about that. I doubt. Is she that much of a philosopher? Frankly, I think it is just a woman that is frantic for time, and that does not want a war to take place, because she is afraid, of course, but you can imagine how strong and powerful she must be to be able to dominate these people. And in fact, in the very first recitatives, vocally, it is when she says sediziose voci, voci di guerra, and their reactions are also ferocious, because they were hoping that she would say, war, let's go.
The signal is up to her, isn't it?
So, and she keeps on fighting them down. Finally, when she dominates them and says, well, I foresee their destruction, then they are appeased, the full moon comes, and the Casta Diva is only a consequence, rather a straight line of singing, which of course is very difficult also, because after these strong, powerful recitatives, you have to keep the line very peaceful and very nearly silvery.
Yes.
And it's the beginning of the act. So you're exposed, you're a bit nervous, and, well, you know, you haven't had your acoustic yet.
Of course, it's very famous. Everybody knows it. It's very difficult. In the crux of Norma, then, is the last act, the 4th act. This is when it really is
This is her liberation,
yes,
frankly.
the liberation.
This is where she feels that she has the whole situation in hand, and she has lost her head completely, though she does still command, absolutely,
but her emotions are getting the better of it.
But her emotions are, I can't put it into words, and I say, frankly, I am embarrassed when I talk. But this is her purification, can we say?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The last act.
Yes.
So here, really, the line of music and the intensity of music is even more, and should be even more, intense. And I was brought up in this opera as that, exactly that, and it should happen. But of course, you have to know how to sing.
Same voice has to sing that as has been singing an hour and a half before Casta Diva.
Well,
it's a
the
very
same
different
voice has
matter.
been singing all along.
Yes.
That is the trouble. You have to have, well, you see, the bel canto method, and I've heard some records which are very little to go by, but in any case, even the light sopranos of Once Upon a Time had very big chest note tones. It was part of the method of bel canto. It just had to be.
Certainly.
So this is already taught to you when you were very young. But, of course, this is, as the last act is usually, the culmination of a role. So you have to be at your best, at your most powerful, at your most intense.
Mm-hmm. You said something earlier on about the clarity, the smoothness of the line. I don't know whether you said smoothness. I've never thought of, I don't know whether to say sheer or mere smoothness as being, certainly mere smoothness isn't one of the things I associate with your singing. It doesn't seem to me to go with this tremendously expressive characterization you've always done in your singing. Legato, of course.
It's a legato that you should pursue always. It's, I again refer to a violin because, but it also has to be more or less intense according to the words, according to the psychological situation.
And the
so
music.
there are many times, like in Sonnambula, that it is an intenseness, that it is a smoothness that always must exist. But there are times when it's a purer smoothness. In other words, it's a more dreamy or poetic.
Yes.
And then Norma, for instance, is sometimes poetic, but it is always a very more deeper rooted one. It's a more powerful, more intense. There is Pirata also is more near Norma, because there again also the psychological situation is that she's a terrified woman, has suffered a lot, has known love, and has been torn away from it, and is torn away from it. So, of course, it's the same psychological situation that when a woman is less affected, or a man as for that, the line is more or less intense. But the line, and by line I mean the arch, which is exactly that, and that keeps on going all through the score, and all through any instrumental music. That is what they mean by keeping smoothness and height of tone, never letting it drop. It's like a motion that keeps on flowing. It is always sustained. But it's like dropping the hand like that, which is the first thing I was taught of bel canto. The very, very first thing I was immediately reproached by Serafine was, no matter what note you sing, no matter how dramatic or how light it is, it should always be within the middle of the note. There is no slurring, because it is against the rules of bel canto. But the psychological and the atmosphere that you create, the breathing, because there are lots of breaths, but in a piece there's one long breath of an aria.
Yes.
You begin the aria and it ends, and the breathing should be just one large breath with very many breathings in the meantime. I can feel these silences sometimes that I think even the public, sometimes if you've managed to really to give this as it should, to hand it to them, as they say, they themselves don't breathe.
No, that's
they are
very
brought
true.
up into another atmosphere. This is the same
That's very true.
that we're supposed to
Yes.
obtain and feel, which means in spirit, in mind.
You've talked about Norma as a dominating, in a way, ferocious person. Not a ferocious person, but a dominating,
Noble,
powerful,
yes.
noble person.
Noble.
How does one move from that a week
Traviata.
later to Traviata?
I
for
know,
instance?
because those are really two dominating points of
Also
my
a
career.
dominating person,
And
but
of
a
my
different
interest.
type. Yes, I can
They
imagine.
both are noble in a
Yes.
different way. They're both,
Yes.
can I say, purified at the end.
Yes. Yes, they
So
both have
either
to
whether you're
sacrifice.
healthy or you're not healthy, if you are noble enough to reach this height and to liberate yourself and becomes, maybe I'm just a pure romantic, sentimental
No, I don't think that at
fool.
all. Certainly not having
believe-
seen the performances.
But I believe that these two characters, though they are so different,
Have this thing in
are
common.
so much, yes.
On the other hand, the music, which is, what, 25 years apart, about something like that, is, in a way, more different than the characters are.
Yes,
There's a different approach to
the melody
Verdi.
is enormous. The line of
Certainly.
melody is great.
But the,
And don't forget that Verdi was really a great admirer of Donizetti and of Bellini.
oh, certainly.
You find,
Certainly.
in the early Verdi especially, you
Certainly.
find lots of... but I remember what Verdi said vaguely, never mind what the melody is, so long as the melody can be immediately memorized and sung by even the shoeshine boys. And it is true, a melody must come to the ear and to the mind immediately and stay with the person. And the melody of Traviata is very easy, but it is very intense.